Hey everyone, it's Carissa over at Sprinkled with Glitter, and this video is part of the Essentials by Ellen Holiday 2015 release blog hop. And it's actually my second video for today. So if you haven't seen the first one, it is the Be Merry stamp set or Be Merry card that I'm featuring over there. So there's two videos to watch today for this blog hop. And be sure you go on over to my blog because I will be giving away this Got Candy stamp set. That giveaway closes on August 11th. So hurry on over there and I'll link that blog post in the description below at YouTube as well. So I'm using the Got Candy stamp set. It is part of the new Essentials by Ellen holiday release. And I'm going to create a Halloween card. And I'm going to do a little diagonal stamping on this card front. I'm using some Neenah Solar White 80-pound cardstock. And you see that when I'm positioning my stamp here, I am going to position the stamp at the angle that I want it, but I'm going to make sure that the stamp press that I'm using is straight up and down. It is lining up with the grid mat that I have behind it. That's because every time I stamp this, I am going to make sure that that stamp press is lined up and straight along those lines, and I will get the same exact angle every time I stamp it. So I'm going to start here, and you can see once again I'm lining up that stamp press with the grid marks on my mat, and I'm going to stamp it on the bottom leftish of this card front. Then I'm going to ink it up again, and you can see I'm shifting the stamp press over, but I'm leaving the grid marks lined up. Does that make sense? So my block always stays perfectly straight, and my stamp will always be at the same angle because I've mounted the stamp at an angle. Now this is much easier than mounting the stamp straight and then trying to stamp it at the same exact angle. So every time I line this up, I just make sure that my grid mat on the mat that I'm working on and the grid lines on my stamp press are perfectly parallel to each other, and I get that same exact lined up angle every time. So you can see there I've stamped it a few more times, and I'm creating kind of like this diagonal backdrop to go across my card. And I'm just finishing up those last little gaps there. Once again, keeping the stamp press straight, and I'm able to make that really nice angled effect on the front of the card. Now, once I finished stamping, I went ahead and cleaned up my work surface because I did have some ink on it. And I am using just a little absorber thing there that I use to clean my stamps as well. And now I'm going to take this adorable little ghost and I'm going to stamp him in some Memento Tuxedo Black ink onto some Neenah Solar White cardstock once again. I'm stamping him in Memento because I am going to use, I think, the T1 and the T2 Copic markers to add just a little bit of shading on him. So I'm starting out with the T1 marker, and I'm just kind of going around that left edge and along the bottom, and then I'm coming in with the darker and I'm adding even less of that around the edge, just kind of going along there. And then I'm going to go back over it with my T1 again and just kind of blend it out, kind of soften that transition and just really blend it out. And then here I'm taking the colorless blender and I'm going over that whole thing and just kind of really softening it all up and blending it out and just giving this ghost a little bit of shading and interest. So now I'm going to use the coordinating dies. All of the new stamp sets released by the Essentials by Ellen line for the Holiday 2015 release have coordinating die sets, so it makes it super convenient. And I have my ghost die lined up and ready to cut. And now I'm just going to stamp this Got Candy sentiment. I'm actually embossing it with some white embossing powder. So you saw me prep the surface of my cardstock, and then I stamped it with some Versamark ink, and I'm heat setting that with my heat tool. Now you can't really see the sentiment right now. I'm planning on cutting it out using this little speech bubble here. But I decided to, I didn't know whether it would be better to put the ink on first or after, and I decided it would be much easier to blend the ink over the top of this before it was die cut. So I'm just using a little Avery Elle Sea Glass pigment ink and an ink blending tool, and I am blending this right over the top of that embossed sentiment there. And because that is a heat embossed image, it's going to resist the ink. So when I go back and I get all this done, I'm going to just rub off that sentiment with a little dry paper towel, and that cleans off any ink that was sitting on top of that embossing. And now you can see that that sentiment is popping off of that page, and that you have a really nice white sentiment and a kind of blended ink background for that speech bubble. So now that I have all of my stamping done and my dies in place, I used a little post-it tape to keep them in place while I ran them through my Big Shot. And now I am going to use just a little charcoal ink from Hero Arts, and that's what I used to stamp that Happy Halloween as well. And I'm going to stamp it down onto the front of the card here so that I get my little shadow. When you die cut the little ghost image, the shadow image isn't a part of that, and I wanted that shadow to be a part of my card. So I just went ahead and stamped that onto my card front. Now I was looking at this and I decided that this ghost is asking if anybody has got candy, and there's no candy on this card. So I stole these little candy stamps. This is from the Elf stamp set. This is also a part of the Essentials by Ellen Holiday 2015 release. And I am stamping the little candy corn and that little, I don't know, disc candy, candy wrapped candy. I don't know what those are called. I guess it depends on what kind of candy it is, what it's called. But I'm stamping those in some Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and then I'm just going to use some Copic markers to color those in. And I'm coloring the little triangle-shaped candy like candy corn, of course, because this is a Halloween card. And then I'm going to use the RV19 to color in these little disc or hard candies that are wrapped up. And I made the ends a little bit lighter than the center of that because I figured that they would be more translucent. So I don't know if that even makes a difference in the finished card, but it's something that you can try. So now I'm using the coordinating dies. These are also from the Elft die set, so it coordinates with that Elft stamp set that you saw me bring in earlier. By the way, in the other video that I created today, I will show you the entire line of the Essentials by Ellen Holiday 2015 release. So if you want to see all the stamps, you can either go over to my blog or you can check out my other video. So now I have all of my candy cut out. I have my ghost. I am just adding a little bit of shading to the edge of the speech bubble with a Copic marker and then positioning it onto my card front using a little foam adhesive. And I decided I wanted some purple paper that coordinated perfectly with my little hard candies that I colored earlier. So I'm once again using this RV19, Copic RV19 marker, and I am just coloring a strip of paper. And that way I have a perfect match to those candies that I created. And I'm going to layer these up. So I have a little black and white striped paper. This is from Chickanitty, and it is one of my favorite black and white striped papers. And I'm just adding a little tape runner adhesive to the back, layering it over that purple cardstock that I created with my Copic marker. And then I put a little tape runner adhesive along the back of my card front, and I'm adhering that to those paper strips that I layered up as well. And if there's any excess hanging over, I can trim it off. So now that I have my card kind of layered up there, I'm just positioning my candy pieces. That bigger piece of candy I was able to put onto the card front using a little foam adhesive. And for the little candy corn, I am just using a little Zig two-way glue pen. This is like a ballpoint pen almost that has glue in it to position those down. And then finally, I'm adding some pretty pink posh sequins. These are in Lemon Drop and Tangerine to the front to just add some more sparkle to that candy grouping that's at the bottom there. Now, I created my card base out of some Basil Taffy cardstock, and I did something in this card that I never do. And I stamped a greeting on the inside, so I just stamped that trick-or-treat greeting on the inside. And that completes my card for today. I added that card front on using a little bit of fun foam behind it to add some more dimension. As always, I will have all the products used in this project linked in the description at YouTube, as well as over at my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. And head on over there to enter to win this adorable Got Candy stamp set. And check out all the other participants in this blog hop. They are fabulous bloggers as well. Thanks for stopping by today. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fabulous day.